Allow you to do that. That goes really fast. Snap the top, absolutely manifold bolts on Yes.
You paid quite a few things at that fee.
Should I pass these out now, or wait?
Call the meeting to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wait.
America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We'll start with the September 26th regular meeting. If I could have a motion, please. Thanks, Jerry. David, any errors, corrections, cleanups? Conversations? Nope. All right. I will say also, sorry, Jeff is not here, and I have his proxy, and I'm not sure about Kathleen. You got JB's, okay. And I'm not sure about Kathleen, so. All right, with that being said, all in favor of approving those minutes? Thank you. Jessica can get it later. The next one is the work session we had on October 17th. A motion to approve those, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 17th.
Thank you, Jackie. Second, Sandy, thank you. Anything on those we need to change? Nope. All right. All in favor of approval of those minutes? You got two? Okay. All right.
We're gonna have golf go first.
Okay. Switching it up. Miss Ruth, golf?
Okay. Report from October 9th. Darrell Muldoon presented an award to Highlands Golf Course from the staff at Celebrate Arkansas Magazine. Every year they have a contest, and it's the very best golf course award for this year, which is very impressive. Dogwood had won it before, but this year it was Highlands that won. Golf facility report. No further course reports are needed during the winter months. However, that doesn't mean we don't still look. If any addition is noticed by any JAC member on any course, they should bring it to the attention of the host pro or to Darrell Muldoon immediately. Don't wait. Staff reports. The rounds are up 3,339 over September of last year. Year to date are 8,878 over last year. Year-to-date rounds ended 174,400, up 8,786, which I think that's kind of an unusual number, same as the other. Member rounds are up considerably for over 5,900 over last year, and guest rounds are up 3,092 over last year. Pro shop sales are up 111,000 to budget for the month, which is pretty darn good to be over get budget. Range balls year-to-date are 39,976, and I'm sure that will increase drastically as soon as we get a few other opened up. Thanks to the Friends of the Highland for sponsoring lunch for the high school district golf tournament. And Tanyard Creek Progress Open House was Tuesday, the 22nd, and I'm sure Tom will talk more about that. Darrell showed pictures of the progress at Tanyard during the meeting. Maintenance for Graham Kornmeyer. Please see the complete report on the webpage if you would. Enlargement of hole number 4 green on Bella Vista Country Club was completed on the 10th. Solid area will be roped off for some time so there's a turf gets to throw in. Dave Armstrong inquired about the possibility of par 3 tee boxes being cut shorter on all courses. Graham will investigate the possibility of mowing the tee boxes more often to do so. Armadillos are causing a lot of damage. Maintenance staff are dealing with and addressing their food source, which happens to be grubs. Aeration on all courses. Greens went well. The new course harvesting technology was used, and the greens healed up very quickly and rolled smoothly. Tanyard Creek greens were also aerated. Fall fertilizer has begun, and the coloring application has been applied to Kingswood. Leak to the pond on hole number 6 at Kingswood has been identified and solutions to repair have been identified. Grams will be proposing the cost of the repair in the 25 budget. Tournaments, Alex Sanford, Rally for the Pink, and Veterans Day tournaments are the final 2 of the year. And Operation 36 had 94 participants in the program this year, which is very good. Next meeting will be November 13th at 4 o'clock. And it will be noted that there will be no golf committee meeting during December and January of this year and next year, so. That's it.
Thank you, Ruth.
Questions, comments?
Thank you. You want to do which one next?
Yeah, well, we do not have a report from Recreation,
So Lakes it is.
so we'll do Lakes. This is from the chair, Matt. Lake Norwood will be drawn down beginning November 4th and allowed to refill beginning March 3rd, weather dependent on the refilling. The lake is currently low due to drought conditions. Trout stocking will begin on Lake Brittany in early November. Weather temperature permitting, Lake Brittany is also low due to drought conditions. Rick Eccles will submit a proposal for stocking threadfin shad in Loch Lomond in early 2025 in the budget. Approximately 60,000 shad would be stocked pending POA board approval. We appreciate the support of the POA board. Threadfin shad are a major food source for bass and will help bridge the gap with other efforts currently underway, including removal of excess grass carp and reestablishment of native aquatic vegetation. One couple did attend. They are residents of on Lake Brittany and were concerned about the low water levels, and it was indicated that this is due to the drought, and Lake Brittany has extremely small watershed, where a lot of the other lakes are stream fed in some cases. Basically, Brittany, you got to rain right on top of the lake to fill it up, and so until we get rain, it's not going to get any better. And that's the report for the Lakes Committee.
Great, thank you. Beth?
Good evening. We're here to talk about the September financial overview. We have a fall theme, but the numbers are not falling.
Been hanging around Doug too long.
I did. I'll be here all night. For the month of September, the consolidated water and POA together, the revenue beat budget and prior year. Expenses was higher than budget and prior year. EBITDA came in for the month at $531,000, which beat budget by $28,000 and was a little less than prior year. But looking at the consolidated year-to-date, you'll see that revenue year-to-date is still way ahead of budget and prior year. Expenses are lower than budget year-to-date, more than prior year, and EBITDA stands year-to-date consolidated $4,372,000, which is about $1.7 million better than budget and about $700,000 better than prior year. So looking at POA only for the month of September, some of the notable variances: better than budget golf fees, member transfer fees, investment income and assessments. Worse than budget in September was F&B, and that was due to the delayed opening of BV 65 and the resale of lots of $40,000. If you look at the chart on the right that goes over the 3 months of revenue of the quarter, gray is the 24 actual, green is the budget, and gold is prior year actual. So you'll see that we beat prior year almost all quarter, just tail end there at the month. And we beat in August, we exceeded budget. Looking at the operating expenses for POA, they were higher than budgeted in prior year. Better than budget was chemicals, salaries and wages, credit card charges and interest, and utilities. Worse than budget was maintenance and repairs. There was $45,000 in budget expense due to lightning strike. That should say on golf cart chargers, not golf carts. Contract labor was $31,000, worse than budget, which was split between golf maintenance and F&B. Bad debts expense was $28,000 worse. And maintenance and repairs on common property and utility lines was $22,000 worse. And I believe the storm had an impact on that as well. Looking at year-to-date POA only revenue came in higher than budget in prior year. Cost of goods sold just beat budget and also prior year. And expenses was better than budgeted and about $500,000 more than prior year. For the POA, year-to-date, we're at 1.1 million EBITDA, which is 1.2 better than budgeted and 500,000 better than prior year. So looking at where we are by category as far as how much of the revenue that's been budgeted for the year has been recognized, Lakes and Parks is winning at 89%, Recreation second, 88%, Golf 87%, Water 80%, and Food and Beverage 72%. Now switching to water, the revenue for the month of September, water sales, capital buy-in fees, and new service connections were all better. There wasn't any real significant variances in categories to report worse than budget in September. Same chart to the right for the quarter. This time the dark blue is 2024 actual, lighter blue is budget, and gray is the 23 actual. You'll see that the revenue stayed pretty flat line on actual most of the quarter, beating the prior year actual all but 1 month and beating budget the entire quarter. Looking at water's operating expenses for the month, they were higher than budgeted in prior year. Salaries, wages, and benefits were better. Worse was meter installation materials. They're still better year to date. The timing on those is just really hard to get right. So looking at the water year to date, 2024, our revenue at $9,180,000 is beating budget and prior year. Cost of goods sold is better than budget, just barely more than prior year. Expenses is better than budget and about $400,000 more than prior year. And EBITDA for water year to date is $3,260,000, which is $653,000 better than budget and $216,000 better than the prior year. Turning to cash, we have a total of $6,822,000. Water and operating is $3,245,000. Reserves for water is $1,044,000. POA operating is $1,460,000, and POA reserves is $1,072,000. And wrapping it all up on the left is the departmental variances to budget year to date. Maintenance and construction, Lakes and Parks kind of fell in that worse than budget. The storms had a hand in that. But the winners are general income, water, recreation, and legal. The EBITDA year to date again for the POA is at $1 million. The debt balances, the intercompany loan hasn't changed at $3.4 million, and the region's loan stands at $4,436,000. And I've already talked about the cash. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question comment. On your nice race car slide, there was only one that was below 75%. Did that chart represent through September, 75% would have been budget, and they're all better than that but F&B? Did I read that right?
Yes, that's
What it was
true.
representing?
That's true. But
Okay.
remember, well, no, it's not better than budget. It's how much of the budgeted revenue for the year-to-date they've recognized for the year. So they've recognized almost 75% for the year, which is, we're 75%
But
of
every
the
other
year through.
department has exceeded 75% of the revenue, which is where it was budgeted. Just make sure I'm
Correct.
looking at it right.
That's
So with-
correct.
With
But
BB
some of that's
65 opening
seasonality.
late,
Yeah.
that's understandable that it's behind.
That's
So I
true.
think that was a very good pictorial. I appreciate
Yeah,
that. I want to make sure I
yeah.
understood it right.
And some of that's seasonality, so, you know, golf is gonna,
BB 65 open.
That's what I just
Yeah.
said. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah.
Just wonder why you didn't have corgis.
Oh, I should have done that, you're right. Oh, man.
The dog races. Thank you, Beth. Next, excuse me, next is open forum. We wanted to do verbal first, right?
Yeah, do you have the sheet, the sign-up sheet?
We have a group here. Welcome. Thank you.
Hi.
Oh, there's one. So here, I'll give, there you go. Let her pass out, and then Gordon Brown from 4 Kirkpatrick. Floor is yours. You got 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'm Gordon Brown from Fort Kirkpatrick, and we're here representing trail maintenance today. We're all together. We've been working together for about the past 25 consecutive weeks of Trail Works programs. We started doing this back during the first storm season, especially when we looked at the scope of our trail damage in comparison to what happened south of us. We knew that before we get any professional trail work, it's going to be months and months. So me and Matt formed trail teams. We started working every week. We've been working every week since June 1. We've covered about 650 trail hours, about 50 miles of trails. And we've done that mostly with personal tools we've taken from the TAP program, and with zero support from city or POA. We have a team here that represents about 10 to 15 people per week. We had 15 so far this week on trail. We've just now started a back 40 team. We've been averaging about 4 people per week over there, just getting it started. It's turned into a regular trail work repair event, not just, you know, raking and kicking rocks and stuff like that. We've replaced culverts and things like that. It's part of the handout. You know, there's a resume of some of the more detailed things that we have done, which again has cost the POA and city nothing, you know, as far as what we've done. We started, like I said, back in the storms, and we assumed it was going to be months and months before we had any professional support from like trailblazers and stuff like that, and we were right to do so, because most of the major issues that were major problems with our trails back then are still major problems. Nothing's been repaired as far as bridge washouts, root pills, and so forth. And we did that back when things were normal for us. And what I call normal is we had a trail coordinator with the city, we had a TAP organizer with trailblazers, we had funding for supplies, supports, and repairs, and all that was still intact. You know, now y'all have all heard about the budget, you know, and funding cuts and everything else. We're operating in a new environment, and our vision for Bella Vista Trails is to have a lot of teams like us. Like I said, we're already starting on our second one, and to have the Bella Vista Trails be self-sufficient and operate solely with teams like ours, you know, supported by the city and the POA and outside sources as needed. And what we need from the city on POA is support in the way of hand tools. That's really all we need from our community is tools. You know, right now we're using personal tools or tools that we're borrowing from other programs. Technically, you know, we just haven't turned them back in like we're supposed to, right? And today we're asking you for 3 things. We're asking you for an open mind over the next several months, because we're going to continue to bring requests to you. Item number 2 on page 2 gives you a shopping list of things that we're actually in dire need of now, you know, as far as hand tools. That shopping list is only $500. It's rakes, which is our most important item. And the number 3, because our time's about out, we need a place to put a storage building on POA property. We want the tools and the building and all of that to be owned by the POA, not us, not by any other outside organization or facility. So we need a place to put a building, that we are going to have furnished on a piece of POA land. So it's POA tools on POA land, locked with a POA lock. And there'll be limited access. It's not going to be like, tap or anything like that, where people from other communities can come in and look at our tools. And so, thank you for the 3 minutes. Didn't quite get done, but any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Gordon.
I'm gonna digest it.
We had an email also.
This email is from Mike Burrow. It says, "Greetings, board. I had hoped to attend this evening's meeting, but the universe had other plans for me, so the message will have to do. I have been monitoring board meetings consistently since I bought my house in 21. Overall, your actions and processes have been transparent, and I have nothing but high marks for your work. As a former HOA president, I thank you for your service. I wish to speak to you about the amenity that brought me to Bella Vista, the trails. This $25 million asset that the POA enjoys is a source of joy and fun for me, and I am pleased to report that the system is in remarkable condition. I believe the trail system is doing well, largely because of a POA asset that keeps the trails open and in good condition. I am speaking about the POA members that are trail adopters. Think about it. We have people that pay their monthly fee to volunteer their free time to keep the trails clear and in good operating condition. I don't wish to discount the work of the trailblazers. They do the heavy lifting of bigger projects for maintenance and development. The assets that have been gifted to the POA from the Walton Family Foundation via the trailblazers are incredible, and that's an understatement. But the only consistent in our lives is change. We all have known that the WFF would not have kept this up forever, and that shift has begun. As of this writing, it is unclear to me how the Trail Adopter program will be sustained in Bella Vista over the long term. I have spent some time working to understand how the system worked and how we transitioned to a new normal. I have more questions than answers. One thing I've learned, Bella Vista's trail system is quite different from Bentonville's. Bella Vista's trails, for the most part, lend themselves well to being maintained by volunteers, while Bentonville has more complex builds that require professional care. Bentonville has more of a bike park feel, while Bella Vista has more of a backcountry feel. I love that there's something for everyone in Northwest Arkansas, but Bella Vista is my preference. As the kids would say, it's my jam. The POA is so lucky to have such a team of motivated volunteers, and as a former president of a mountain bike club, I know that the motivation of those volunteers must be supported and celebrated. I know the management of TAP is changing, and that the POA is going to take a bigger role in the care and maintenance of our trail system. There is a lot of churn going on among the volunteers, mainly because of Trailblazers' budget constraints. The lack of clarity for the administration of the TAP program and what it will look like a year from now is concerning. I do not know what it needs to look like to have TAP thrive. No, this transition is being messy from a volunteer's perspective, and because I'm not here in Bella Vista full-time, I don't volunteer. I would ask the board to listen to your volunteer POA members and get their input on how to efficiently maintain our trail system. I would also ask the board to adequately fund this program for Bella Vista. Oh, I'm good. Okay. This is from Mike Barrow.
Tom, you want to address both of those?
Well, first of all, we're always happy when someone joins us for the meetings from the community. It's so important. I know a lot of people watch at home, but it's always nice to have members of our community attend. So we really thank you, and a very professional presentation. We really appreciate it, and thank you for giving the handout. It allows us to review it afterwards. Volunteers are so important. I agree. We can't maintain 100 miles of trails without volunteers. We're all in it together. I've had a meeting with Aaron Rushing from the Trailblazers. So we're trying to figure it out on our side and how that means how we're going to have to adjust. We are in the middle of budgets. So the timing of your approach is good. I can't guarantee anything. We are going to be presenting the budget for the entire POA on November 14th, I'm sorry. On November 14th, it'll be in this room at 6 p.m. I encourage you to come and you can voice your concern. That way, we're going to talk about the budget, all the budgets. You might fall asleep during the meeting. It's a little dry, but we do encourage you to come. Regarding the storage building, we've done that before. We have a storage building for the Bluebird organization. That is, we have that down at MAC, so definitely something we're willing to talk about. And so what I would say is maybe we set up a meeting with either all of you guys and me, or one or two, and I'm willing to meet and talk about it. Jessica can get you, that's Jessica. Jessica can get you my contact information. Very willing to sit down. What I like most of all is anytime we're working with the volunteer groups, we need champions. We need someone that's willing to say, charge, follow me. And so it sounds like you guys are doing that. So I'd love to sit down and meet with you guys and figure out what we can do to work together on it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I did want to mention, so we had the email that was sent in. We give the 3-minute timer, so even if you send in an email, if she goes beyond 3 minutes, then she stops reading the email. So just, she kind of stopped halfway in between, so I don't know if Mike is at home watching it and go, why didn't you read the whole thing? Well, we have the 3-minute, you can't there's no loophole in sending an email that gives you more time. So, but if you want to, my email address is tomj@bvvpoa.com. So that's Tom J. Don't forget the second V as in Bella Vista Village. And send me an email, and I'm more than willing to meet next week after. Probably a good idea to have it sooner rather than later, because we're in the middle of budgets. So your visiting now is timely. Can't make any guarantees. This is we have to make sure we have a lot of people pulling at us at this time of year, but and ultimately it is a decision of the entire board.
I have just a couple comments.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead,
Thank you for everything you do. I live on the back 40, and I appreciate y'all being able to go back there, but I'm unaware of the change of the climate environment with the Trailblazer budget. So at some point, I'd like if we could get a little update on how that impacts us, because I'm unaware of our budget. We've not changed anything that I'm aware of as far as trail maintenance, but we have to do, our portion of what we do with that annually.
It won't change the 24 budget, it's so late, but yes, I was going to bring,
Okay.
Joan and Trey and I are still kind of sorting through, how when I give the board reports, I like to be fully informed, and it's still a little bit of a nebulous situation. So I'm aware of some things, but I don't have a full understanding of the full impact. I've also had a conversation with the mayor, because they pay half the bill also. So yes, I will bring the board up to speed.
Right, so we just need a little bit more information, I think, and where we're at and what it looks like for the future, like you guys are trying to figure out too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys. And Mike, I hope your wife's okay.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We're going to go over policies.
It's really exciting. And on that note, thanks, guys.
We're all on the trouble.
Thank you. Okay, on the exciting topic of policies, once again, for those viewers at home that are maybe tuning in for the first time, no, we don't need a first time in a couple of months, all these policies have originated from the Rules and Regulations Committee. So please view those previous meeting videos and also previous board meetings such as the work section and so forth. So if the board happens to go through these very quickly, you have to just go back in time a little bit. So the first one up is policy 1.03.4, which is charitable giving committee. This would be the second and final reading. The board approved this last month's regular session. It's updating this policy in accordance to lessons learned from the creation of the policy.
Right? This is like a dentist asking a question when he puts that thing in your mouth. Need a motion for policy 1.03.4 charitable giving committee. David?
I'll make a motion to approve the changes to that policy, charitable giving.
The second.
Second reading.
Thank you, David.
Second.
Second, Jerry. Is there any other discussion on that one? Oh, sorry. Is there any other discussion on that one? No? All right, all in favor of those changes? All right.
Yeah, thank you.
The next three are fairly consistent, or they have the same thread. These are some changes that were proposed through the Rules and Regulations Committee, specifically adding a provision regarding board candidate qualifications. And the addition is, while not required, members evaluating whether to serve on the board of directors are encouraged to consider serving on one of the three joint advisory committees prior to applying to serve for the board of directors. Prior service on a joint advisory committee will provide the member with practical experience and working knowledge of the administration of the association. So that's the main changes. We also did some other verbiage changes, so forth, but those are the main ones. All this information is available on the POA's website. These, for all three of these, it would be the first of two required readings.
Need a motion for policy 2.09, appointing a new interim director, first of two required readings.
David, I'll make a motion approving the suggested changes to policy 2.09, appointing an intern director. This is the first of two readings.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Thanks, Deborah. Any further conversation on this one? Nope. All in favor? All right. 2.11.
I make a motion approving the suggested changes to policy 2.11, director election process. This is the first reading of two required readings.
Thank you, Deborah.
Second.
Jackie, second. Any conversation or questions on that one? All right. All in favor? And the last one, bylaws.
I make a motion approving the suggested changes to the bylaws. This is the first reading of two required readings.
Thank you, Jackie. Second? Paper, rock, scissors, which one was it? Sandy, second. Any further conversation, David?
It's this is basically incorporating the same language that's in the policies, is that correct?
Correct.
We've been consistent throughout, that way
Okay.
there's no deviation.
Make it consistent, thank you.
Anything else? All in favor? Thank you. And with that, that brings us to announcements. There's a little shuffling of meeting days and times with the budget and holidays and different things. So the department head present the draft to the board. Department heads presents the draft 2025 budget draft to the board on Thursday, November 7th at 9 here in the boardroom. That's a closed meeting. Recreation JAC meeting is Monday, November 11th at 4 here in the boardroom and also live stream. JAC Golf, this is your last one of the year, right, Ruth? Is November 13th at 4. Oh, it says it further down. Here in the boardroom, this is their last one of the year. There will not be a meeting in December or January. The 2025 budget draft presentation to the community is Thursday, November 14th at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom and via live stream. Regular meeting and budget approval meeting is Thursday, November 21st at 6 here in the boardroom and also live stream. And then the last one is Lakes JAC meeting is December 4th at 2 o'clock here in the boardroom and live stream. Is there anything else? Yes, Jackie.
Just want to make a comment. Thank you for the POA staff for hosting the tours we had this month. I think that was great information for our members.
Yep.
We had 150 at the, or 100 at the gun range and 80 at the Tainted Creek. So very well attended. A lot of people excited about the changes and, you know, what's coming our way in the near future.
Good stuff. Anything else? All right. Meeting adjourned.
Very professional job there, Jerry.
2 hands up.